Hey, Jeff.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
How you doing this fine
look.
Sunday morning?
Hey,
Neither of us are even
Jeff.
remotely tired right now.
hey, listen. Hey, good morning.
What's the one? Watch out!
Oh, I'm sure we'll hear plenty of that.
For sure. I think the fairies in this game are like infinitely more annoying because there's two of them, and they're like more snobby.
Yeah.
They're like if you took like Navi from the first game and then gave her some '90s attitude, and then you just put two of her instead of one.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why this is the better Zelda game.
Agreed, yeah. You've doubled the Navi.
Yes. It's the only reason, really. Whoa, are we not starting from the very beginning?
No, I have a save file here
Oh, shit.
because the beginning of this game is terrible. But you know what? We could just start from the beginning to get that intro bit.
Oh, no, we don't have to. We can start from here. Let's do it.
Okay. Well, this is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, the definitively, inarguably best Zelda ever created.
Yes. Inglorious standard definition converted into high definition.
Well, to the viewers at home, it will be in standard definition.
I don't have the luxury of watching the direct game capture feed.
I don't either. I'm watching the same thing you are.
Do you think that the Zora mask is the best transformation, or the Goron mask? We're not even talking about the Deku mask.
Well, I think that my middle school self would have said that this would be the best because it is the most rad looking. But in reality, it's easily the Goron mask because it lets you go places faster.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah. That same old 90s attitude pervades even into this game.
You should show the animation.
Okay.
Oh, show them what it looks like.
I was just going to show the best part, which is this.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Sonic Spin Dash.
It's
Straight up.
like the derpiest version of it too, because like like the acceleration of it are all weird and funky.
Yeah.
And the way you like turn when you wind up.
It's also
super cool.
really easy to control.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so, what are we doing here? I'm Griff, Jeff, whatever. This is...
Yeah.
What are we doing? This old game, I think is what I called this. And we're
Yes.
playing this old game.
Put that mask on. Show them the screen.
All right.
This is one of the best parts of this game. That's how you already know that this game is like 1,000 times darker than
Absolutely.
Freaking Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
This game is sad.
So, just as a very simple beginning premise here, right? The world is going to end in 3 days. You are Link, the hero of everything, time and space and genealogies. And
not even pubescent.
yeah, you're a young Link in the severed timeline. Your horse gets stolen by a dude, and then you get turned into this little piece of shit for the beginning of the game, have to transform out of it, and then learn the magical powers of masks and summoning and sages or something like that, and you get the flute, and you get, that's it, right?
You summed it up, the whole thing.
Yeah, you get the flute
Honestly,
and
we
shit.
don't even have to play this anymore.
Yeah, it's just, shut it off.
I will say, I found that as I got older, my hatred of the Deku has shrunk. I don't hate it as much as I used to. I have some level of appreciation for that segment of the game, and the screaming.
Yeah, I love the scream. That is phenomenal.
It's so good.
I mean, so you're speaking to the darkness of this game, and that's a very commonly associated theme with this Zelda game, is it being darker with the constant imminent moon crashing into the earth and murdering all the inhabitants. These little bits here, but also, I mean, I forget. I forgot about it until I was playing this again. How weird it is where you get these masks, You're essentially like inhabiting the soul or body of a dying person, character, and then you carry their legacy on through your mask powers.
Yeah, you get them. You always get them from dead people.
Yeah.
And there are times like when you get the Zora mask, you like find his girlfriend or whatever, and she like talks to you and like thinks you're alive, and you don't say anything, and it's super weird.
It's very weird. Then there's also these regular masks, which do things.
Yeah, and so many of these masks. This is one of the cool ones where you can just march around with your ocarina.
Yep.
And like there are like 4 people in the game that will follow you when you do this. And it's just there, and it's completely optional. Like you don't even have to touch it, and most people will probably miss it.
Right.
Because some of these are really hard to get.
And once again, another one of the best masks in the game. The one lets you run faster.
How do you get this one? I don't even remember.
I don't remember either.
Oh, okay.
Stupid
But yeah,
frog hat.
I was going to say that one of the cool things about all these masks is that by no means you have to get them. You really only need the 4 masks on the right to win the game.
Yes, yeah. To complete it through in like a basic fashion, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much so if you wanted to like critical path this game, you could do it fairly quickly, although there are some fetch quests that kind of pad the length a little bit. But if you want to like explore the world, like that's like the whole point of this game, like just like getting to intimately know like this kind of small world of Termina, which is just Clock Town and then 4 surrounding like environs or whatever. And the whole point of the game is like getting incredibly intimately familiar with them. Like the actual scope of the world is a lot smaller than Ocarina of Time, but the density of the world is so much greater.
Yeah, absolutely. There, like you said, there's like only 4 main regions where Ocarina of Time had several like major other towns and other like regions. This is a lot more truncated.
Yeah, in this game, in another kind of departure, this game only has like 4 major dungeons. But the dungeons are like really huge dungeons that can sometimes take you more than 1 cycle to complete. Did you explain the whole concept, by the way, of how the time keeps repeating a la Groundhog Day?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I mentioned it. The world's going to end in 3 days.
Okay, well, yeah. So the world's going to end in 3 days, and you start the game getting turned into like a Deku. And then
first person.
Shitty first person is there. But anyway, you start the game as a Deku, and you kind of like dick around for like 2 days, and you like find a couple things, like you find a moon tier and a couple other things, but you're like, okay, 2 days are up and I haven't saved the world.
Yeah.
And then you find the door opens for the world to end or whatever. Like when the moon's about to crash down, like this door opens and you go in there and you find the last boss and he's like, you can't touch me. And then you like shoot a bubble at him and he drops your flute, and then you pick up your flute and you can go back in time and start the whole thing over again.
Yeah.
So like the game, it's really cool the first time you play it, because at least for me when I was a kid, like I played through the first 2 days and I was like, I don't understand how like I'm gonna save the world in 3 days. Like the game's already almost over and I've done nothing. But then you get your flute back and you start the whole thing over again. And that's like when your mind is blown as a teenager. Yeah.
My mind was blown when I did this.
Oh yeah, to get like 100 rupees or something.
Yeah, mind blown.
Yeah, this game is chock full of cool shit like that. And like literally like every character in the game will have like some kind of problem.
Yeah. As you had mentioned, like it's more about, the densely populated world and the characters and the environments interacting with them. And if I pull up my little menu here, we go to our notebook, our bomber's notebook, and it shows this timeline for our interactions with these people that we encounter on each of the 3 days. Where they're available throughout the day, how to help them, like, with their problems. And Jeff, as you had mentioned, if you critical path it, none of this stuff is important, but you can get things like heart pieces from helping these individuals out. And then you also get masks, which, is the key to unlocking the true, if you want to say that, ending to the game. Ooh,
yeah, weird. the 90s emo awesome Link.
Yeah, you get
that you can get the
Super Link.
Yeah, the Super Saiyan Link transformation. Yeah. I was going to say another thing that kind of speaks to the darkness of this game is that you can solve like a lot of these people's problems, But then after you solve them, you have to go back in time, and their problems are just like unsolved again.
Absolutely.
So like it like really speaks to like how futile it is to try to save everyone. Like this is a game where you cannot save everyone. It's just impossible to go through one cycle of 3 days and do all the shit you need to do. So you're gonna finish the game with some people unhappy no matter what you do. Then there's this creepy banker.
I don't. What am I doing?
Who slaps
here?
their knees.
I'm putting money in the bank, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I always was mystified, but I figured that was like a cultural thing that didn't translate.
I just thought it was just another like this game is just super weird, and like the way that they held up his hands at the end, and did a little like hooray, you got your money.
Yeah.
Just everyone in this world is like seriously screwed up. Was just my way of interpreting that.
Definitely. I guess I forget that there are a lot of places to go in this world.
For sure, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of places, but it definitely feels like a smaller world than. And you can do a little bit of that.
You can make Star Trek noises.
You're playing a little theremin on your ocarina.
All right. Let's investigate some other areas around the world here.
By all means, yeah, we should check out all the major areas.
Where's the flying thingy?
I think it's Song of Soaring. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, just like Ocarina of Time, this features the ocarina as a prevalent tool.
Although they'd run out of all the good, like, natural sounding songs, so all their songs sound kind of dissonant and weird.
Definitely.
But it actually works to the game's like credit because the game is dissonant and weird.
Yeah.
But my impression when I first played this game for sure was like, oh, like that's what they've managed to come up with the remaining inputs. It's like, so I already did all the good songs, now to do all the kind of good songs.
Yeah. It was this, I mean, you don't have the amazing familiar pieces that you have from the other game, like, like Bolero Fire and Sorry a Song, and those incredibly sticky songs that you can never forget.
Exactly.
But you do have some cool stuff in here. Like,
oh, definitely. And they have a lot of interesting manipulations of the Song of Time.
Yes.
Which obviously plays a huge role in this game because it becomes the mechanism by which you are able to go back in time and repeat your 3-day cycle over and over again.
Yes, we will
so
take a look at that
have,
here in a second.
Yeah. You have the inverse Song of Time, which I believe slows time down. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the Song of Double Time, which is where you just play each of the notes twice.
Yep.
And that skips you forward a half day.
Yes.
So there's lots of really interesting like permutations. There's also just rolling around like a Goron.
Yep.
Like a boss.
Yeah, and as you had said, some of the frustration, or not frustration, but some of like, when you're interacting with the village people. Nope, nothing. Okay, and you and you solve their problems, and then you restart the cycle again. You go back, and none of their problems are solved. The same thing is it follows the same path with the environment. So just as you saw there when we were running through that area, there was the frozen water in that lake. If you go and complete this area, you can make that lake liquid again. But then, once you restart time, it reverts back to its original form where it is frozen, and thus frustrating.
Yeah. But it also, I mean, so like from a gameplay perspective, it's frustrating. But from like an experience kind of perspective, it's really cool because it's like you had that one moment where things were serene and peaceful, and it's like you'll never see it again. Like you're gonna go through so many more cycles, and it's just the only time. So it makes you treasure that moment. Like we're like, wow, like for a moment everything was okay.
Right. Yeah.
And now there's a baby crying.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's definitely it can be frustrating. It can lead to some irritating situations. Oh yeah, and you could play the bongos. So there's that.
Best game ever. You can also pitch bend your bongos, which makes
some
a lot of
high level
sense, right?
bongo play.
When I was playing this, I was blown away by the fact that he touches a different drum top for each button you press. That was freaking crazy to me.
I was blown away that each transformation has an analogous instrument.
Yes.
What's the Deku instrument? I can't remember anymore.
The garbage pipes.
Oh, that's right. The bagpipes, yeah, or whatever. Or the Deku pipes. Yeah, and then the Zora gets a freaking rockin' electric guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, just the worst.
Show the electric guitar.
Okay.
Wait, show them the guitar.
I will.
Which is the coolest one?
Where's the guy that always that does the yeah? We gotta find him because that is etched
Beetle?
into my brain. Yeah.
Wait, didn't Beetle only start in Wind Waker? Or are you talking about Tingle?
No. I'm talking about there's a guy you talk to, and I think you have to play music for him or something, and he just goes yeah.
Rock out.
It's
I thought it was an electric guitar. That shows what I know. Yeah.
I mean, easily the best part is the sway.
Which just does nothing except just look awesome.
Well, it's part of the pitch bend, but I love it.
Yeah. That's how real rockers bend their pitch, just by leaning in different directions.
So, yeah, that and the whammy bar. All right.
I was gonna say one frustration with this game. So you mentioned how like you'll fix everything and then you'll restart and it'll go back to normal. Sometimes that can hinder puzzle solving because like you'll put in a ton of effort and you'll get really close to finishing a puzzle, but then it'll be like about time for the world to end. So you have to go back in time, and then you just lose all your progress.
Yeah,
which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
but
boy, I don't even remember these.
They don't do very much. That one obviously quiets the baby.
Yeah, they're pretty specific to a function to unlock a temple.
Yeah, that's the thing with this game. All the colored songs are really situational.
Mm-hmm.
And all the white songs. I feel like a horrible person. All the white songs.
It's an album, man. It's everything in the white album is a tool.
It is good.
And then everything that has a different. Those are the singles that are released, and they're not so hot.
Do you remember the dude in the Zora realm that is just rocking out playing the original Zelda dungeon theme?
No, I don't, but I want to go there because that's where I think the guy who just is always yelling at it is.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
This game also had a really interesting saving mechanic because you can't you can't really save in the traditional sense because if you do, you just start from the dawn of the first day again.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to quick save, you can hit one of these birds with your sword, and then it'll create a temporary save, kind of like in like a roguelike, where like once you load it, the save is erased.
Yeah, so that's what he's saying.
Yeah, see, it's explaining that right now. Because Zelda, it has to explain the same shit over and over.
You know,
and over again.
Just like when you pick up a new rupee every day, it's like, oh my god, 1 rupee, holy bazzoles.
Well, that was during Twilight Princess, where every time you opened a chest, you'd hold up the rupee and be like, you found a rupee! Spend this in stores! Yeah, I think it's Zora Cape, isn't it? Or is it
sure.
Great Bay Coast?
Check it out. Oh, that stuff is all pretty tightly connected. There is, however, one area that I was playing this, I think, last year, trying to get through it from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And I got stuck here, because I know how to do the first dungeon like intimately, second dungeon pretty straightforward too, the build up, the lead up to all that, and then I got to this, and it's not just because all water dungeons are awful, it's because I literally don't remember how to do this. Like I must have only played this level once.
It's because all water dungeons are awful.
Well, because before you go here, you have to she's upset that her egg or something was stolen, so you have to go to the human people area and retrieve it, and that's where you get into the garbage stealth section.
Yeah, where you have to get the 7 eggs or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably the worst part of this game, honestly.
Yes, it is.
This game has a number of fetch quests that kind of pad out the plot a little bit.
This is one of my favorite parts, just swimming.
Oh yeah, this thing's awesome.
And right there, you get that.
Yeah,
baby.
Little Echo the Dolphin segment here.
Wait, yeah. Pretty soon we're gonna run into the giant alien head that we have to murder from the inside out.
That game was so trippy. You just jump into the sky and apparently you trigger a UFO attack.
Yep. Oh.
That was some nightmare fuel right there.
Oh my god, get inverted.
Oh yeah, the controls are terrible down here.
Yeah.
Just the worst.
It's like Pokemon Snap levels of control. All right.
Go into that mouth.
Going into the mouth. Oh man, it's music in this game.
So yeah, another thing about this game that people kind of criticized a little bit at the time was that if you look at it, obviously, it reuses a lot of assets from Zelda, from the first Zelda game.
Yeah. First 64
people were like,
Zelda game,
yeah, people were like, oh, it's not original because so much recycled assets. But I think that them doing that really enabled them to do weird experimental shit and not really worry about like the cost of developing art and stuff. So it actually ends up working a lot to the game's credit. And I think also they actually reused some characters. Like they just took the character and just copy pasted it into the game and gave it the same name. Yeah. But it also lets them do these kind of weird like Bizarro versions of characters, which make for these really interesting kind of interactions if you recognize the character from Ocarina. Like it'll set up some expectations, which are then what's the word, like
contrary to what you
exactly. So it sets up some kind of interesting situations in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Where is Rockin' Dude?
I think he might be upstairs a bit.
Oh, upstairs. Okay.
Like I think on the way upstairs there's a door, and I think he's in that one.
I wonder if I'm at the segment right now where they block you out of it.
Maybe.
Because you gotta go rescue the eggs because everyone's upset.
That could be. Yeah, and there are some things in this game that are permanent. Like, it's kind of like random as to what's permanent and what's not. Like, there is, I think, some internal game logic that kind of explains it, but it's not entirely satisfactory. Like, once you get, like, one of the main masks, like one of the boss masks, it unlocks certain things. And because you keep the boss mask when you go back in time, like, you can use it to continue unlocking shit. So I don't really know how that works, but there is some stuff that does remain permanent across time jumps or whatever.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, to some degree.
Yeah, like the bank that you visited, like the conceit of that one is like, well, they put a stamp on your hand that tells you how much money you have. It's really kind of funny the way they kind of set up the situation for it to work. So like you've got a stamp. I guess in theory you're just robbing some people.
Essentially,
because, you have a stamp that says you have 999 rupees, but it's not actually in there yet.
Right. And
this idiot dude who just can think of nothing but slapping his knees and throwing his hands in the air is like, oh, I must have seen you somewhere before, I guess. The stamps don't lie, even though I've never met you before in my entire life.
Oh my god, get out of my way, you jerk.
He wants to see a sword.
Show him my sword. I'm no child, look at this sword.
Yeah, so you've got to show that dude your sword every freaking time you want to get out of town.
Yeah, because he's never seen you before.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, I think that this zone here, what is this, the Termina field or whatever it is? Mm-hmm. I don't know what you call this. Is that in this game? But
yep, it's Termina field. Yep.
It definitely does not have that kind of like awe-inspiring grandeur that the Hyrule field did in Ocarina of Time, or in Ocarina of Time.
I mean, this is not an epic game by any stretch. It's a much more intimate game. Absolutely. I think. It's more about individual stories. It's more about, like the relationship between the two fairies, the Skull Kid and his conflicted story. It's not about, saving the world so much. I mean, you do save the world, but it's more about each individual interaction and like saving each of those things, or like, becoming involved in each of those little stories. Right. And I feel like each little thing is like a little story. Like there's like, you remember the whole thing with like the really complicated one where you have to reunite the two lovers.
Yeah, the wedding mask.
Like 2 minutes left to save the world. You reunite them right before they get killed.
Yeah.
There's all these really amazing and like tragic stories just like that.
Totally.
And it's for a company that's like so known for making like kid friendly and kind of, for lack of a better word, like kind of generic save the world type stories.
Yeah.
It's like a very mature tale, and it's definitely kind of outside of Nintendo's usual
wheelhouse
area of work, I guess I would say.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. There we get our little notification saying there's X amount of time left, which does tick down in real fashion. And Jeff, like you said, we have 3 ways of manipulating that. We have the Song of Time, so let's remember that. Okay, I can do that. So if we play the Song of Time, beautiful. We get the prompt that says, "Hey, do you want to go back in time? Return to the first day."
Yeah. Lose all of your arrows and bombs.
As you had mentioned, you know, it is, you have to deal with it. Like, what good is money and items in a world where everything is just transient by the 3-day cycle? So, you know, you retain them in a very weird way where you have the capacity to use them, or you can bank your money.
Yeah, exactly. And for some reason, you can hold your bow while you're going back in time, but you drop your arrows. Just the process of spiraling back through the depths of time just causes your quiver to empty out.
I must be playing this wrong. I found that really interesting because I thought, I am. I thought that was really interesting because it put more of value to money in the game, which was kind of a thing that only, like, coins in Zelda games were. So now we can warp to the second day if we do the first note doubled. Which this serves a purpose is if you're trying to go to a certain block of time where you can meet a certain person, or
because as you mentioned, everyone has a schedule in this game, and they all like follow it very strictly. Like, people are moving around and going places. You can only do, like, there are some things that require you to do shit on every single day. So that, you know, what time it is matters in this game.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, like I was saying, like, the value of money didn't really exist. It was more of just like a tool to get another 2 or 3 heart pieces. In this, I think that the value for money is a lot more meaningful, since, you know, you are buying your arrows after you return to the first day, or more bombs, or it does gate a lot more things, like your items that you have here. And then just with the constant repetition of always going back in time, you know, you can run out into the field here and cut up some leaves and shit to get it, but it also, it's a convenience item where you can just say, okay, I'll just go buy some more arrows or whatever, instead of hacking up some shrubs.
You know, I think you're right, Griffin. I think that a common issue just across almost every Zelda game certainly came up in... what's that one? Link Between Worlds again. Just maxed out the money in no time. Even with, you know, in that game, they were actively trying to address the money problem by, like, making you buy all the items. But even in that game, money was just utterly trivialized by the second half.
Yeah. Well, I mean, trivialized, yes, but it was also more meaningful than it was in any other. Like, they're getting to new places with this.
I agree, but I think, as you said, this game is one where money does matter, and where you actually do feel like financial constraints.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they maybe rather unwittingly pulled that off in this game, which is why they haven't really been able to duplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree that that this game, money matters more in this game.
All right, so what I just did there was I was playing the Song of Time backwards and slowing the flow of time.
This is like where if you listen to like a popular classic rock song backwards, you hear like an incantation to the devil, right?
Yeah, exactly. Insert popular rock song, totally. Yeah, it's like if you play the Dreamcast music or the GameCube music on the save screen backwards. It blows your mind. Do you recall what happens if you get to the end of the days without completing it? Does it force you to play your ocarina, or does it just automatically dump you back?
You can watch the world end, more or less. You mean if you wait out the timer to the very end?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's super cool.
Press the wrong one. Da 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 da. I don't want that. Yeah.
Well, let's return the flow to normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, this is super cool, and you should show them what the moon looks like. Because the moon is like the ultimate nightmare fuel.
It's some pretty terrifying stuff.
This game, just the imagery in this game, and like the stories that it tells are so cool. It's really just unlike anything Nintendo has done.
Mm-hmm.
It goes into like their oddball, like Earthbound, Mother 3 territory, just in terms of like really heart-wrenching, quirky, strange stories.
Yeah. Again, it reminds me a lot of some of the things that we praised, the Zelda, the handheld Zelda game that came out this last year,
Link Between
Worlds, that did so maybe unintentionally well, where you find like this domestic violence couple or something like that, like, in their house, and it's like, I haven't seen that spoon since my husband beat me with it last, and you get that little like quip, and you're like, what the hell is going on here?
This game is chock full of that stuff.
Totally, yeah.
And just watching people like, so when the world is starting to end, people, so it's up until the world is like actually ending, like until there's like a countdown on screen until the world ends, people are just kind of going about their day, like pretending that nothing's happening.
Yeah.
But then when you're leading the animal around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the story too, it's this village is getting ready for the for some celebration that happens during this time, but they're also completely oblivious to the fact that if you look up into the sky, you are just 70% of the skyline is dominated by this leering moon.
Well, it's not that, I don't think that they're exactly oblivious. I think they see it and they kind of know that something's going down.
Oh yeah.
And the world starts shaking in the last day. It's super cool, and it does it all across the entire world. So like, even if you're in the middle of a dungeon, it'll shake just like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like people it's almost like they're in denial. Like they'll mention the moon, they'll be like, oh, the moon looks awfully big in the sky today.
Right.
Or like, people say the moon is falling, but I think it's fine. I'm just going to go about my day.
Oops.
And then in the end, like people get like, it's like super creepy and like kind of emotional, and people get like really, they start to react, and they start to prepare for the end. And that moment is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And this really great music plays too. Can you skip to the next part, or do you have to wait it out?
I don't know. I was gonna just try and get into the bombardier area to get a good look with the telescope, but I think we also need to engage this individual.
Oh yeah, this is the reason why this will always be the greatest Zelda game, because it introduced Tingle to the world. Yeah.
Easily the greatest Nintendo character ever created.
Yes. I like how his official lore is that he's like a salaryman who just wants to be a Zelda character.
Yep. Help out my father. Don't steal his magic words, though, because he made them himself.
He also is the only individual, real or fictional, with the distinction of actually wanting a fairy.
I feel like, for a second there, you're watching a game show, just like, Japanese game show, like, what the fuck just happened? That man just inflated a balloon out of his ass and flew up into the sky and wanted to sell me more maps.
I just, like, seriously, who actually wants to have one of those little things following you around
Oh
all the
my
time?
god. Well, okay, so in the first game, right, like, it was the Kokori village, like, every kid lived there and had a fairy. That was their thing, like,
yeah,
right? So he's essentially like, I like this because he was essentially like the character that was everybody who was like, this game isn't as good as the first game. He's the one who wants to go back in time and be like, I want to be a fairy from Fairy Village.
Yeah, he's like their preemptive response.
Yeah. So
I think you have to turn into a Deku.
Well, no. What we're gonna do? So I'm not gonna replay from the start of the game. I'll probably just start it to end on that. But what happens here is you're turned into the Deku Scrub, and you got to get to the observatory. And to do so, you need to use the secret entrance here, which is guarded by this little bastard, where he says,
You
need the secret code.
The code's in your notebook.
Exactly, yeah. But at the
So
time,
you can
you need to play hide and seek and collect the code that is written on them. So, since we have it written down here, we can view it at 24513.
Yeah, and it's random every time you play it, by the way.
Which
so
is crazy.
If you're starting a new game, then don't try
It'll
to copy
do no
ours.
good for you.
24513.
Okay.
But yeah, and like I was saying earlier, I kind of did a crappy job of explaining it. But when you first start the game, you are like profoundly limited in what you can do.
Yeah.
Like you just basically spend the first 2 days like slumming around as a Deku scrub, not able to leave town, only able to go to this observatory, and then only on the very last day, when the world is about to end, do you get a chance to like tweak your fate and change the course of history.
Yeah. It's also interesting too because everybody treats you like a second-class citizen too. They're like, "Oh, you nasty little bastard! Like, get out of here! Like, we don't deal with those Deku scrubs."
Yeah, they really make you hate being a Deku scrub. The game is like, you're not supposed to like this.
It is the exact opposite of like an abilities, where you start out as just this completely unempowered, flaccid character that is, you know, you're just begging to return back to your former glory of Link the Toolmaster.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a good way of like kind of addressing the fact that this is a sequel. It's like, you know, you'd expect Link to like be able to like, you know, take care of this kind of stuff, but then him getting turned into a Deku scrub is like the Metroid, you know, you just lost all your abilities for whatever reason. You just got a parasite that took away all your abilities, or, you know, whatever the explanation of the day is. You know, you're not authorized to use those powers yet.
Right. This is one of my favorite things too, is when they have clocks in certain parts of the city that are counting no matter where you are, and I think that is super rad. Like,
the attention to detail in this game is it's really incredible.
Yeah. So that Pierre Scarecrow thing, I think, is absolutely bizarre, where you can pass time by dancing the night away with him, and then he has some ability to, you know,
he can be
teach you something. Yeah.
He has a couple limited pieces of utility, but he's good for speedrunners. That much I know. There are people who've managed to beat this game in I think it's in 2 cycles, in 2 3-day cycles, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, it might even be in 1.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So we zoom in here. See our little friend.
Oh, yeah, here's the creepy skull kid.
And then he looks up and we see
in the very beginning of the game.
Oh dear God.
And then the moon cries. It's literally called a moon tear. So cool.
He doesn't want to crash into the earth.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Looks terrifying.
So this is why I came here, just to look at this guy.
Oh man, that's a creepy looking moon.
We can just sit here and watch this guy spank his butt over and over too.
And this game, another really awesome thing about this game is that there's a lot of lore, but the lore is very subtle. Like you go to different parts of the world, and like you go to this area where like there's all these interesting statues, and people have written like lengthy internet essays like trying to figure out what the hell these statues mean. And there's clearly some kind of meaning there. Like there's a lot of stuff below the surface here. You can definitely feel it.
I just like, okay, so we have the same conversation there as Deku Scrub and as Human Link, and he's like, you better not be here to steal my things. And then he's like, oh, you must be a new friend. Come and look at my telescope.
That's super cool.
Shikashi. Huh.
Yeah, it's interesting because
yeah, this is going into right what you're saying, like just, oh my God, like I've never talked to this guy as Fishman.
Yeah, and everyone who you talk to is different people will often react differently to you. So like some people just don't like you know, Fishman or whatever, or you know, Gorons.
Get your bongos out of here.
Don't you sense the changes in the moon?
I don't. Maybe he actually doesn't. I wonder if that was... Well, maybe. I don't know.
It doesn't look like he does, but some people do.
All right.
You should show the weird Goron jump that I kind of remember.
Which one? This one?
Yes.
I just like that you can sit there if you don't prompt anything.
That's why the Goron is the best.
Yes, once again. Unfortunately, this is what frustrates me, is not having the hook shot right now means, you know, we gotta hoof it back there.
Yeah. We should definitely end this when we do with the moon falling. I think that's the best way to end this video.
Totally. So where do you think the best location to do that in is?
It's in Clocktown. But is there anything else that we should look at before we do that?
Okay, we went to Goron City. We were at the fish place.
You haven't unlocked the Stone Temple Tower area yet, have you?
No, I haven't unlocked that.
Stone Temple Tower is one of the cool. So that's the last normal dungeon in this game. It's probably one of the coolest Zelda dungeons ever because you actually can flip the entire dungeon upside down.
Yeah, see, I don't even remember that, so that must have been
that?
one time. Nope, not at all. So
Oh, it's so cool.
I barely remember Fish Temple, and I remember it being head and shoulders better than the other Fish Temple in Ocarina of Time.
Yes.
But it's not saying
Job
much.
is probably one of the worst.
Yeah.
One of the worst Ocarina.
So this is one again. This is reliving the first moments of the first part of the game.
Yeah.
Here. This very obvious racial stereotype is wanting to sell you their property.
Yes. And there's even a side quest you can do where you have to get the deeds. This is the best part about this. You have to get a deed to use this.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow or another, you can get deeds for each and every one of these. There's like 4 of these in the world, and you can go through a trading quest.
Yep, for each major town that you visit or each dungeon, there's essentially one of these guys associated with it.
Yeah, and if you get them all, you get like some kind of special reward for it, like a mask or a piece of heart or something.
Yeah, well, every time you get a piece of heart, essentially, every one of them that you purchase, you get a piece of heart. But
you have to do it all in one cycle.
Absolutely, yeah. So he packs up his belongings, moves to his next location at Deku Town, and then you have to trade this previous deed because the new guy is like, I want to move to the city, and you give him the city deed, and then you go to Winter Town. He's like, well, I want someplace that's it's lush and vibrant, not just in the freezing cold. And you talk to the next guy, and he's like, I hate the beach. It's all salty and it ruins my head leaves or whatever. And then so it's like you said, to get to the end you need to do every single one in progression, but there's no easy shortcut way there. Like you have to travel to each location, you have to get the moon tier, you have to do all that stuff.
Yeah, and this game is like really chock full of those kind of daunting multi-day quests. Like I see you have the cool sword. Which the way you get the cool sword is interesting because you can like reinforce your sword.
Yes.
But when you reinforce it, it's only good for like 150 swings, and then it breaks.
Right.
So in order to get the good sword, you have to reinforce it like 3 times or something, which takes the entire cycle to do. Because reinforcing it takes like a day.
No, I think it's something. Boy, I don't remember it now, even though I did it. It's something along the lines of you need to win the gold powder from a race, which you can only do after you clear the Goron area. You win the race, you get the gold powder, and then you take the gold powder to the blacksmith who lives up in the mountains, and then it takes something like 36 hours to forge the sword. So essentially you have to run around or just skip time forward for a couple days until they're finished forging it, and it takes like your entire wallet to do as well. Whereas normally you can have them reinforce your sword for a price, but it's not
lasting. Last. But don't you have to reinforce it twice?
Maybe I just accidentally did that anyway, but I don't know, possibly.
Maybe.
But I know it doesn't require the gold reagent to do that. Okay.
Yeah, well the point is it's not something that you can just do like and accumulate over time. You have to literally like commit an entire 3-day cycle of doing it.
Yeah, essentially you're saying, okay, well, today is this run this cycle I'm gonna be doing is gonna be purely for getting this sword. And this freaking dog, when you're Deku, just another icing on the cake for how much it sucks to be this. Anytime you're by this guy, little asshole decks you.
Yeah, you are literally a scrub.
Yeah.
The scrubbiest of scrubs.
Don't want none.
Yeah, so I think rather than going in to fight Skull Kid, we should just stay out here and watch the moon fall.
Yeah. So I was jumping up there because in order to progress or to get the ocarina and start the game, I guess, you have to buy that little piece of square with the moon tier, jump up there and enter into that tower. Have you shown
the Deku Scrub's ability, by the way? The going out of the flowers?
I did with going in there. But, you use it in multiple locations around the map here. Like, going into this one. This is
fly around.
Part of the cycle here. You gotta find this asshole who's hiding up there.
Yeah. And there's the dude who wants toilet paper in the end.
Yes. The hand which is in the toilet.
Can you give him the deed? I can't even remember.
Yeah, you
anymore.
do give him the deed. Yep. So there would normally be a hand that reaches up out of that obvious toilet, and maybe that's the thing that makes the ghastly yowl when you walk by it. But yeah, this is him right here. Person living in the inn's restroom. Details unknown. And you give him any piece of paper, so you can give him a deed, and he'll accept that and do whatever he needs to do with it.
There's an old lady who tells you stories. This game is full of so much weird shit. Like there's a lady in that inn who tells you stories, and she's like, "I'm warning you, they're kind of long.
Yeah.
And if you listen to them, you'll just fall asleep
and pass a day."
Yeah, unless you have like the owl mask that will keep you up.
Yeah.
And then if you can listen to them, she'll give you a piece of heart.
This place I think is really funny because I think on the last day you were allowed in, because normally if you come in here and you're dressed as the Deku, he's like, "Get out of here, we don't serve your kind." But then on the final day when the moon is finally obviously crashing into the earth, he's like, whatever, come on in. But this is one thing that's always I don't know what to do here, where you have a stage and you can play as all the different characters. I think there's a producer that'll be around here. But
yeah, if there were people in here, I would know, but there's only that lovely-looking fat lady.
Oh yeah, we have to wear the mask. Do we have the mask? We don't have the mask.
I'll bet you if you had the mask, you could do something.
Yeah.
That is an attractive lady.
Mm-hmm. She's like a... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so here's a perfect example. Someone who, like, they finally start to talk about the moon falling, like, when the world's about to end.
Mm-hmm.
And everything just gets deadly serious, and the music will reflect that. Once we have 6 hours left, the music will change. And that's just, like, the best music. Oh yeah, honey and darling. They're gone. Everyone's run away.
Mm-hmm.
There usually are people in here just dancing and twirling around.
Yep.
But they've abandoned the town. Lots of really cool stuff like that.
Yeah. This is a location that I don't think I ever go into. As this
is like the
generic crap. Yeah.
Yeah, treasure game. You have to go through a maze, I think.
Is it so? Can you still cheat with the lens of truth?
I think the lens of truth might help you here, but this one is you have to get through a maze in under 60 seconds or something, and like walls pop up along the way. But I think the lens of truth can still help you.
That's good. I always was frustrated with those ones where they're like, you get the heart piece if you can make 5 correct 50-50 guesses in a row, and you're like, so annoying.
Yeah, and then you only realize later that you can lens of truth the whole way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, another cool thing about this game is that they recycle items, but you get them in a different order, and their utility has changed a little bit. So, like, you use the lens of truth extensively in the Goron land, but you use it in a slightly different way. Like, you use it to see dead people, and you use it... I can't remember what else you use it for.
You use it for hidden paths. Yeah, in the
platforms.
Goron area.
Every item, even though a lot of them are the same, like, they have different feels to them. There's the frogs. You already got the frog mask, right?
Yeah. Even without the what's it called? Like, I think that the ocarina, plays a significantly different part in this game than it did in the last game.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely not as pervasive as it was.
I mean, I think it's still pervasive, but it doesn't feel like... I think the story kind of hinged around it in the other game. Like, you get this magical item that can, like, help you save the world. Right. In this one, like, you're using it all the time, but, like, you get it after the first cycle. Like, you get it pretty early on in the game, and you use it. It becomes something you use rather routinely, just as, like, a tool, like a utility for manipulating the flow of the world.
So there's that shaken you're mentioning.
Yeah.
Do you want to... Do you think there's any worthwhile mentioning of the controversy about this game? When it came, like, just the general disinterest people had in it, and how I forgot. This is the guy that gives you
This guy's terrifying.
Yeah.
This guy. The best part of this guy is when you have cutscenes with him, and he the way he moves is so creepy. Also, he has a Mario mask on. Look for the Mario mask in his bag.
Yeah. So essentially, his facial features are that of masks. Like they switch.
Look up a bit more.
They switch very drastically.
It's on there somewhere. I know he's got it.
Well, he's got weird, freaky red face mask. It's got a regular dude mask, stone mask. That's one you actually get in this game, I believe, right? Oh, I see an M up there.
Something like that. Oh, yeah, there's Mario, yeah. What was the controversy, though? You said people didn't really buy it?
Well, no, I don't want to bring into, like, sales. I don't want to bring sales into it, but I know just anecdotally, you know, it is not a lot of people's favorite Zelda game.
Yeah, it's kind of the dark horse. I think people don't because of the reused assets and the emphasis on, like, kind of less on just combat and more on, like, interacting with people and going and doing errands and stuff. I think people don't like that because they play a Zelda game expecting lots of bosses and lots of dungeons and stuff, and this game doesn't really deliver that. So I think that turns a lot of people off. But I think I think it is the most narratively interesting Zelda game, and it is the most emotionally unique Zelda game, and that's why I like it best. And also the 4 bosses that you do get are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like the first boss of the Deku Temple, it's just like a straight up sword fight, which is interesting. You don't use a tool on it; you just fight him with your sword. But he is like freaky as hell.
Yeah.
He dances around and he's like.
That's absolutely true.
And he screams when you hit him.
Yeah, it looks kind of like an old Aztec god sort of a thing, like something you would see parading around at like a Mardi Gras festival.
Yeah,
something a Burning Man statue would be made out of.
Yeah, and I think you actually fight all of the bosses with masks. So like you fight the Goron boss with your Goron mask rolling around, and you fight the Zora boss with your Zora mask. Like you do use the items to some degree, but it's not the typical progression.
Right.
And the Stone Temple boss you fight with the giant mask that only works in that one room. But it's definitely a very different approach, and I think some people are put off by the fact that you don't do as much traditional Zelda stuff in this game as you would do in other games.
Right. It's also there's a lot less structure to it too. I mean, there isn't. It's I guess the structure is much more disguised than it is in another Zelda game. It's linear, but the linearity of it is like it's so tightly wound with the 3-day cycle that it feels both completely open and also like completely hamstrung to that structure.
Yeah, I think it's a linear progression, but it's an open world environment. So if you want to play through the game, yes, your plot progression is going to be basically linear. Like you're going to get the masks in the same order, unless you speedrun it. But it is open in the sense that there's so much shit you can do, and you can always go off the beaten path, and like you can wander into the wrong domain early on if you want to, and explore. So there's definitely a lot of. Is this a Gerudo mask? What is this?
This is the fairy mask that you use in the dungeons to get the fairies.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and all those masks. The masks are just the best part.
Yeah.
It's like they took the one little piece of Zelda, which some people don't even know about, the Happy Mask Salesman, and then they just went crazy with it.
Right. Like the bunny hood, which lets you run faster in the first game. I mean, it's critical. Critical.
We're almost there. Music's about to start. Yeah. This music is great.
Wow. I think I've always been too afraid to let the ticker go down. So this is I think might be new for me.
Really?
Yeah. I think I've always been way too nervous to let it actually roll out.
I don't remember how much they show, but we should look at the moon now because now it's going to be really close. Okay. Look at the top of the clock tower and it'll be about to touch it. You can see it already. Ah! Don't go into the clock tower though, because it'll restart the timer.
Right. Okay, so that will happen automatically, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it'll give you another 6 minutes once you go in there. Ah!
Wish I could get a better view of it. Yeah.
Oh, if you get over there, you probably could.
Yeah.
Freaking terrifying.
That's like almost jumpable. You could jump, get up to that clock tower, and transition gravity wells.
Now, if you talk to people, that they will acknowledge that the moon, like that dude will say something about the moon falling. That's just the freaking the ellipsis right there. Like, I'll have a fine carnival without you.
Right.
It's
if
just,
you're gonna
I don't know,
fall,
something.
then fall.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
Just the way that the different townsfolk react to it.
Right. And I think
Most people would.
it's going back to what I had initiated with your opinion on was this kind of being the dark horse and the less respected of the Zelda games, or maybe just an easily dismissed Zelda game, was because I think of all the things we've enumerated already. Like, it is more narrative driven. It is dark. There is this timeline. There is a repetition to it. There are a lot of things that are not Zelda. And I think you and I both love it for that departure, but I think it's really easy for and understandable for people to say, well, no, it's not the Zelda game that I was looking forward to. Like, it's not more Majora's Mask or more Ocarina of Time. It's weird Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, it is a weird freaking game, and there's no shame in saying that you don't like it and it doesn't measure up to your expectations, but it's I think it's better for it. I think it really is. Plus, you can do that. You can give yourself bunny ears. So there's that.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, no, it definitely is non-traditional.
Would you say that? No, I was looking at the items here, and it's like it definitely feels like the items are not as much of a prevalent tool, like a puzzle-solving piece as they were in like any of the other Zelda games.
Most definitely. I don't even think there are as many items, honestly. No. Like, there are a lot of masks, but there are fewer items than there were.
Right.
The emphasis is shifted away from the typical Zelda pillars. I love this friggin' music. It's so good. Oh, yeah, there you go. Shoot his nose. Make him sneeze.
I need more moon tears.
This music is so good.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever waited out this far. Like, anytime I'd see the counter, I'd just immediately play the song to get out of here because I was too nervous.
It's so emotional. Like, you feel it. Like it makes me get goosebumps just like witnessing this happen, because it really is that well. It does that great of a job of like making you feel for this world. Yeah, these dudes never. They don't change there.
Right. They're just tools
these are the
here
ones that
to
are
get,
important to the plot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't change it.
And also our best banker friend right here.
He says something.
You haven't evacuated yet?
You're an amazing little guy.
So yeah, that's what you were mentioning, where he views your stamp or whatever to see how much money you have in the bank, because he's an idiot.
I have a theory that he's just the arbiter of all of this. He knows.
He's actually oh gosh, what was his name? He's Nabbit.
Oh.
What's underneath?
No, not Nabbit. Friggin', what is his name? Because Nabbit is the one from Mario. Look at those waving.
Look at the cow bobblehead to the left. Oh my god.
Who's the one from? It's not Nabbit.
From which
Do you
one?
remember his name?
From where?
Nabbit is the Mario one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not Nabbit. Right. Yeah,
that other one.
So this used to be the item shop where you could buy items, but as you said, everybody has evacuated.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love that. I'm gonna look up who the Nabbit guy is.
Ravio.
Ravio, that's right.
Rovio?
I think that Ravio looks like Nabbit. Let me assure you, they are not related. The staffer who did not notice this has been executed. Please understand.
These teams work side by side, so of course this is going to happen, is his message. So this is a Zelda game, too, that was not done by the typical Zelda team. Is that correct? I mean, I don't know how much you know on the actual production of this, but there was a good story behind the man who is actually the producer behind this and what he's done that kind of meshes with that, right?
Well, I think Aonuma worked on this, but what are you talking about?
I was under the impression that it was a different producer that headed this Zelda. Maybe a Wikipedia article would shed some light on this.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to surreptitiously Google it. Also, this game might be remade for 3DS, and everyone should buy it. Here we go.
Yes,
World
absolutely.
End. This is the game over screen. This is the best game over screen in the history of
Over
time.
9,000.
No. That is like totally like Chrono Trigger, but the world refused to change.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so good. Oh yeah, then I think you get sent back in time.
You're very dizzy. Get engulfed by a wall of flame.
Also, the design of the mask itself, of Majora's Mask, is super cool.
Oh, good.
What a sick ending. It's so great.
Right, so now we're right back here where we started, day one.
No bombs. Your bombs are gone.
Yeah. Dawn of the first day.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna play the song here to show you that terrifying falling through time thing, and then we'll end on that.
Oh yeah, sure. Oh yeah, another thing about this game is that this game was apparently so epic that it required a special memory expansion pack that increased the RAM.
Yes.
And then Nintendo 64 from like 2 megabytes to 4.
So when we're falling here, all those little bubbles would have our items in them, like our
Yeah.
potions and arrows and sticks and shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. It's actually from 4 megabytes to 8.
Oh, baby.
Which is like 1,000th of the amount of RAM I have in my computer right now.
Is there anything on there on who the producer was?
I think it was Aonuma. Let me check. Director was Aonuma. Oh, Shigeru Miyamoto was the producer.
Okay.
Maybe
Who was the
Koizumi?
creative then?
Let me check.
I already showed you my sword. Oh wait, it's day one.
Koizumi was the writer, although this is a different Koizumi than I'm aware of. Mitsuhiro Takanano or Takano, maybe? I don't know.
That sounds like it might be right.
Yeah.
It's different from who did the Ocarina of Time, though. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
I see. Yeah, I wasn't aware of any major team differences, but it definitely has a very different feel, so I would not be surprised. But yeah, it's a sweet game. Everyone should play it, and they better make a friggin' 3DS remake, and everyone better buy it, or else. You play that instrument.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, for sitting through this and checking out some old school Zelda in the form of Majora's Mask with that beautiful lenticular case on it, or cover on it.
Oh, you got the limited edition with the tilt it and things change.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Gold carts,
That's how you
baby.
do.
It's all about gold carts.
Yep.
Very mean golden carts.
I think I have a gold Majora's Mask cart, but a standard Legend of Zelda cart.
Yeah, this is a topic for another game to play through, but that golden Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time cart was, I think, pretty hard to come by, because that was like a Babbage's exclusives or some horse shit like that.
Yeah, and then the other one was just all of them.
Yeah, why not?
But anyway.
All right, well, that's it. Dawn, this is the end of the last day, I guess.
Yeah.
Or something. something
Now
clever.
you can take out that expansion pack.
Yeah.
You can plug in Star Wars Racing now.
No, never take out the expansion pack. Okay, well, last question before we go. Do you have an N64 right now?
Not up here, but I've got one floating around.
When you have it out, do you keep that red raw expansion top bare, or do you put the cover back over it?
Can you even put the cover back over it?
Yeah, you can fiddle it. You can push it back in there.
Oh, I would never.
Okay,
you gotta
good.
let that thing.
Yeah.
It's like you know, like having like
It's a badge of
crazy
honor.
exhaust on your system or something. You
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
Everyone has to know.
right. It's worthless unless people know it's there.
It's got like a grill on it.
It's got
you know?
yeah, it's a red grill on it. So
Yeah.
All right.
Makes, I think, the next level. All right.
All right. Thank you, and goodbye.
Bye.